This is the North Summit Fire District regular board meeting on November 13th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Let's do a roll call. Start off on the roll call. Don Donaldson here.
Steve Allen here.
Louise Willoughby here.
Already, Needy's here.
Corey Blomquist here.
Thank you. And we have a special guest with Ryan tonight. It's Ryan Stack. So appreciate you being with us, Ryan.
Happy to be here.
So
What are we doing? Should we be afraid?
Thinking about the hour.
I know. Quick.
all right. Do we have any closed sessions? Things we need to bring up in the closed door session? Okay, so let's stand up and do our pledge of allegiance now. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Wow. All right. We're moving quick.
Okay.
Chief.
Chiefs updates. So
You bet.
let me start really quick with a couple of cool things. So we were able to finally get some data from INFIRS online. So INFIRS, NFIRS, is a data collection. It's national. So all fire departments in the United States use that to collect fire data. And so what ends up happening is, as of January 1st of 2026, we're switching to a new federal program. It's called NERIS, NERIS. That's going to be kind of an undertaking. We're kind of ahead of it. I feel like we just got notified today that our CAD system, that's how we, how would I explain CAD?
It's the dispatch system, integrated dispatcher.
Essentially, it ties into our logging system and it tracks everything. So we're ahead of the game, thank goodness, but we're gonna have kind of some hurdles to probably hit, and it kicks in midnight on the 1st of January. So I'll stay up, I'll flip the switch at midnight. Then any calls that come in at like 12:01 or 12:02 will be on the new NERIS system. It'll be a learning curve for all the guys, but we're gonna hopefully in December train on that a little bit. This shouldn't be too big of a deal. But with that being said, we were able to get some data from 2019, 2020, and 2021 out of INFIRS, which is great. She helped us out. So I have a call volume here, just in my notes. In 2019, there was 373 calls. In 2020, these are total call volume. 2020 was 437, a 17% increase. 2021, it was 384, so it went down 12%. In 2022, it went up to 517, 35% increase. In 2023, we went down a bit, 495 to -4% decrease in calls. 2024, we increased to 577, a 17% increase. And then this year, again, we're going to see probably roughly we project about 100 additional calls. So we'll be at 682, so just under 700 calls, an 18% increase. We're steadily increasing in call volume. So Red Hills, when that project goes in, that's about 350 homes roughly. We have Walhalla is probably going to get bought out this next year. Growth has stifled slightly, so it's just kind of hindered us, kind of scared us a little bit because we were hoping for those impact fees and to help us out with capital, because that's what we're really have the issue. But also just keep in mind also, do you guys remember in 2022, we did a tax anticipation note? And what it's called a TAN note. So for those that were involved at that time, what that is we borrowed money that the county gave us in promise that when we got our taxes, we pay it back. That's a tax anticipation note in essence. So that first year in operations, we didn't have the funds because our operating account was way below, but we got them at the end of 2022 rather. No, 23 rather. Yeah, it was 23. So we got paid back essentially, or we paid the county back. The next year, so last year, our operating budget, we just barely, we had to call the county treasurer and say, hey, we'd like to get as much taxes as you have in November before you can, so we can finish out the year. This year, we're barely scraping on our operations side. We're building it up slowly, but we're not going to have to actually call her and request additional funds early. So this is good. We want all of our operating funds to to be paying for the bulk of our operations or all of our operations. To be honest with you, public accounting principles say that, hey, we want to have it roughly maybe even 3 months up to a year, depending on where the board wants it to be. We can try and build it up to have a buffer. So that way, if, you know, we have a bad month or something, we have enough in our operating account, our PTIF, to pay for some operations. When we first started, Ari, you were really big into this, if you remember. You helped us realize that we had a cash flow problem. We're able to fix that, but it's slow going. So, and that's not to mention the capital side of things, so. But anyway, so then with that growth, that stifled a little bit, but I think it'll come back. I'm pretty sure Wally's gonna get bought out, so I wanted to kind of give you an update there. If we touch on House Bill 48 really quick, we were kind of talking about it before the meeting, but it's just for the public comment. So this is where the state forestry, fire and land are going to come out with a high risk WUI map. To remember each city, so Louise, you have before you, and then Steve, you have before you for your 2 cities. Some guidance of how to explain this to the public when it starts coming out, and it's people are already calling us about it. This is a state product, and I'll be so bold as to say that it's an unfunded mandate because we don't have much guidance on it yet. And it's actually supposed to go into effect January 1st. And so happy to come out and discuss something with your 2 cities. Let's game plan that together and figure out what you want. But I don't know exactly, but I do think we can talk a little bit about CWPP and CWS. CWPP is in essence, it's your goals that the city creates or the cities create. And those goals are what you're supposed to be able to contribute with to the CWS. So they kind of work in conjunction with each other. Your councils are supposed to create goals in the CWPP. And then, for example, if you have high grass in Hennifer, you can cut those down. And let's say that costs you guys, and I'm making up a number, $15,000. That $15 will contribute to the county CWS, which is your,
The cities.
I'm sorry, to the city. I said county. I'm sorry. I misspoke. It's because we deal with county and cities. I get confused all the time. But to the city's CWS, and what that does is you have that contribution. So if a fire starts and you guys in, let's say, Hennifer Town and expands, that if you, as long as you meet your CWS contribution, you're not going to be held accountable for anything. But currently you are, because you don't have a CWPP created for goals. And we got to work on that. So if we can talk about that maybe with your city, that'll help us figure out what maybe you want to do with your WUI map. And then also what hopefully by, let's say this month, we get the map of the high risk WUI area with the state forestry lands, and that group will come out with soon.
Well, and the other thing is they gotta have the WUI map, they're ineligible even if they have the other 2.
Correct. So the CWPP, I think we can work on together. The CWS we can work on together, and maybe your map, just a general WUI map for your city. But beyond that, I don't have much guidance on the House Bill 48 as a whole. So, any questions on that, you two? Mostly, and this goes for you guys too, but mostly for the cities.
What does the acronym stand for? Cost of Wildland Services? What are they?
Yeah, good question. It's the CWS is contribution to wildland services or something to that effect.
Okay.
And then I can't remember honestly what the CWPP is. Let me pull it up real quick. I did create this binder so the city council, you guys can actually look at this anytime. Let's see. WPP. County Wildland or Wildfire Preparedness Plan is what it's called. So you guys have to create a preparedness plan and set goals.
County or city?
Well, I have the county one here, but you have a city one under each one of your budget sections.
City or community.
Okay.
So again, as the fire district, we cover unincorporated county plus Colville City proper and Hennifer Town. So the 2 cities by themselves have to do each one of these things, but then also the county has already done the majority of those. So I have a section in this binder we can go over at your discretion, and we can kind of cover it all and make a game plan for your 2 cities. Colville does have a CWPP established, and I believe they also have a CWS established. So you guys are doing good. It's Hennifer Town that needs to catch up, and then the county's, solid. So, so anyways, okay, so that's House Bill 48. I just wanted to mention really quick now that we're wrapping kind of the year up. In grants, we were highly successful this year, so we kind of had a record year. We're going to probably end I'm gonna include the Ginsburg donation, but it's probably gonna come in this next year and I'll explain why in a second, but. A total of $443,000 that we were able to get in grant funds this year. Super excited about that, or donations rather too. So that's gonna go, but just keep in mind, those grants, when we get those, are written for specific items, capital projects, and it has to go towards those funds. So for example, the last one we told you about last time was the AFG grant, the Assistance Firefighter Grant. And that one was written specifically for magnet grip exhaust systems. So when you go out into the bays in each fire station, it's not black on the walls. It'll be all exhausted and it won't go up into the living quarters anymore, which will be great for our cancer initiative that the states has put out too. So that's exciting. I wanted to mention also, kind of in conjunction with this, the Ginsburg funds that were donated from them. A 501c3 is what we're gonna have to establish. So we reached out to an attorney, suggested from the attorney's office, Ryan. Her name was Crystal. I think it's Crystal Bowman, isn't it?
Bowman Carter.
Oh, it's hyphenated.
yeah.
Okay. So her name is Crystal Bowman Carter. She's great.
Yes, she is.
We met with her. Ryan was out of town. We couldn't get him, but he approves totally. She's fantastic. And she kind of made a really cool comment and she's helping us out. So she's gonna do everything for pro bono because she felt so grateful and gratitude that the Ginsburgs were going to donate so much money to us that she's like, the least I can do is do this also, this work for free. So she's going to donate all that to us, which is fantastic. We're excited about that. So yeah, Crystal Bowman Carter is the attorney that we're going to use. Now with this, we're going to have a board created and it's going to be separate from the ACB. So those funds will go into the 501c3. They'll get the tax benefit out of it. And let's say, 3 people at a minimum for that board, I assume.
Depends on how she sets it up.
Yeah. Okay, but I would assume at least 3, and then those people will manage those funds. So we'll have multiple meetings per month as we. Another really cool thing, St. Mark's Hospital. I had a buddy, his name's Andrew Beal. He's a manager for St. Mark's. He donated to us a hazmat trailer. They weren't using it any longer. They wanted to replace it. It's not in the best condition. We could put, again, used car family, right? We can put new hydraulics and different things on it to make it better for us. And so actually we finally have a hazmat response trailer, or however we want to build it out, so to speak. We may need some money towards that a little bit, but it was a full donation. It's a nice big trailer out on the side over here if you ever want to check it out. We will probably have to put a new wrap on that because I think it's caked on there. So we'll probably have to get that sandblasted somehow and then replace it, but it's gonna be a good trailer for us. It has a generator on it so like if we have to do a mass decon or anything, they get in there, they decon themselves, and then they kind of it's a hot, warm, cold zone scenario. So they come into the hot zone, decon, go into the warm zone, all the way to the cold zone where they can come out and then go into an ambulance, for example. So I want to give them credit. It was really nice. So the only thing that they asked from us is a little bit of swag. So the least we can do is give them a hat or something, take them a challenge coin, kind of go from there. So
Did you count that as, it was an in-kind donation, but is that sitting on the books at some value?
I don't know. It's
We'll have to assign, I'll put on the asset sheet.
we just barely got it. So we haven't got that far yet.
Yeah, so how are you gonna determine
I
the?
had to look up, well, I have the paperwork when they bought it. so
Okay.
I'll look in.
So we haven't put it on the books or anything yet. It's kind of just sitting in the parking lot for now, but we went and picked it up. It is gonna have to be pulled by probably what do you think, 3/4 ton? It's a big, heavy trailer.
Yeah,
His F-150 barely made it up Harleys with it. So
then I went down, I was going down Farley's with it.
So we probably will have to upgrade the battalion chief's truck sometime in the future to a little bit bigger of a size of a truck. So
Can you tow with a brush truck?
we can, but it's not ideal.
Yeah, they're already pretty late.
They're pretty, well, they're heavy too.
They're heavy
Don't
to
forget
begin
they have a
with.
500-gallon
Right,
water
right.
with all the tools and appliances. So so that was really cool. We're excited about that. We are super excited that 2 years ago, we ordered an ambulance that the county was going to pay for through this whole EMS fiasco. And the ambulance finally arrived in Salt Lake City about a week and a half ago. About time, because it has delayed everything for us. And so it's in Salt Lake. It's still got to come up and get some wraps and things, stickers on it in Heber, but that should be in service coming soon. So each station will finally have an ambulance in them. So we're excited about that. And then we just keep working on the capital projects. So The admin building, just as an update back here, we're still waiting on Rocky Mountain Power. They did finally put the,
We got the conduit.
Yeah, the conduit was
Leader
laid.
basin, we're just waiting for them to run the actual line from.
so if anybody has contact with them and can pull some stuff, they take forever.
Could be worse.
So, but it's looking good. If you, we showed you last time, but yeah, at least the power's almost there, so. Let's see. Okay, so we did have a fire on I-84, just so the public kind of knows, you guys already know. In Hannaford, it was on I-84, the off ramp on at mile marker 115, coming towards Colville. I'm sorry, coming towards Hannaford rather, on that side. Yeah. What ended up happening there is we think that some brakes locked up, he was dragging them, caught the trailer on fire. He was able to cut ties with the diesel versus the trailer, cut the trailer loose, drove off, he's safe. And then the guys did a great job. They were super fast, got there, they handled it really well. But it was chipping at big bats of frozen carrots that were just chunked up. So, and you know, a lot of steam. A lot of people thought the fire was still going even after we left. It wasn't. It was mostly just steam off gassing. And honestly, throughout the fire or throughout the night, when I got there the next morning coming into work, Tommy Moore had got there to start cutting the trailer up to get it out of the way. Once he opened it up, it reignited. So we had to get called back and put some fire or water on that. So. I want to mention also on the 11th, we had a fisherman over in Hannaford. We were having a captain's meeting, an officer's meeting is what we call it. And it was awesome. It was a really cool save. And the firefighters and paramedics on scene did a fantastic job. He's healthy. He's in the hospital. He's recovering now. So it was a really good save. We're making a difference. Not to mention, just to kind of wrap up, I do have an article going out to the KPCW and all over to kind of show this year and promote you guys a little bit for approving that $45,000 for the water rescue. We had about 7 or 8 total water rescues this summer. Not all of them were 100% successful, but most of them were, which is awesome. We're super excited for that and grateful. So thank you very much. And then obviously to those firefighters for that to recognize them. Let's see.
In the past couple of months, we've had 2 cardiac arrest saves, so.
Yeah. We need to mention that one too. I haven't gotten that far.
Yeah.
So good though. That's awesome. Besides that, I think that's all I have to update besides stats if you want to pull up.
A couple questions on
Yeah.
what you went through. Did those call volumes that you said you got from the new system, that track the reports that we've been seeing?
It tracks the info reports, but we don't have any like medical reports or anything.
Right, but the total numbers of calls.
Yeah, we have to kind of decipher the numbers. I can hand this over to you.
Right. No,
So that was so anything 23, the present day we have.
Right.
You just had to go back and have the state pull the old.
Yeah.
the ones after 23 tracked pretty good.
Yeah. Yep. They did pretty good.
And so just to be clear, because I know a lot of folks weren't here, you said that the past 2 years, we didn't need to tap into the county to float property taxes. So just
So
so,
let me clarify that just a little bit. Last year, don't forget, we didn't have to tap into it, but we had to ask for the taxes early.
right,
So we kind of did, right?
right. But
But we didn't have to borrow any money from the county per se. We
So-
barely.
So
scraped.
basically in November, she
Right.
fronted
Well,
it
fronted
really
it to you,
fast.
right.
She goes, I have this much collected. I'll just send it to you as I collect it.
good, before
For
she
shit of
did.
December.
That just get us through because we didn't have enough
Right.
operating funds.
So when we pay our property taxes at the end of the year, that's when they come into the county, and then that's when Corey distributes them back to us.
Correct.
So sometimes it's a float.
I'm
So,
glad you mentioned that to the. public.
Right,
That'd be
right.
great.
so, and you know, we've got a couple levers we can pull. We can't actually, borrow between different accounts if it's an emergency, but what we
With
were
your
doing.
guys' permission. Yeah.
Right, you have to come to us in advance, so we could do that, we could shift some money around and then put it back. What we don't want to do is borrow the way we did because we end up paying
We
interest.
don't want
on
to
it.
go back
So
there.
we stopped that after the first year.
Correct.
And then the final thing is, that's it, that's all I have.
Oh, yeah, perfect. I'm glad. No, good clarification points. Those are great. So, is it still Chiefs or is this the presentation?
Your stats.
Oh, okay, sorry. You just go to the next screen. So we have the 22, 23, 24, 25. I kind of totaled those for you, but that's just a graph of kind of how we fluctuate. Notice every year again, just as a reminder, We really go up in the summertime and then we kind of start slowing down, but it's not slowing down much anymore. It's staying pretty steady with all the diesel traffic, I-80 traffic, things like this. And then, honestly, throughout Colville, Hannaford, it seems like it's all just getting slightly busier over time. So next slide. These are just normal ones that you guys have seen before. This breaks out all the call volume between hazmat, other utilities, fire alarm, fire, brush fire, medicals. And as you can see, we always run roughly around 70%-ish of medicals. Those are our most call volume. So. And that's just a pie chart showing the same thing, just a different type of view. So this is interesting here. We've noticed that if you notice, like from October, these are our call volumes. This is dispatched. So when these guys get dispatched to get on scene, notice how our times fluctuate. We're down, we're up, we're down, we're up. What we've noticed is when we get lots of calls up towards Evanston, it really throws off our numbers because we have so few numbers. The sample size is so small that if you get even 5 calls up I-80 towards Evanston, our times are skewed and they look bad, but they're actually within norm and we're actually still doing pretty well. If you go to the next slide, our dispatch to en route, same thing. So when these guys or not same thing, sorry. When they get dispatched to when they go en route here, you jump in their trucks and start heading out. That time also is gone up a little bit for November. So we need to get these guys to do a little bit better. If that's okay. So, yeah. Next slide. Oh, this is
That's it.
yeah. Okay, so that's all I have for just kind of updates for you guys.
Very nice, chief. Very nice. Okay. Time for public input. Do we have anybody online?
Nope.
Really? Okay. All right, we're gonna close that out then. Okay,
You
let's
guys
go.
have anything to say?
Yeah,
You're public.
I'll allow it.
No, I'm a public servant.
Yeah.
Happy to be.
TV broken? Okay.
You guys are highly interested in the work.
all right, let's go to, let's see, what we got now? The board comments, what do we got here?
Approval.
Approval, consent approval for accounts payable.
Also, yeah.
I just have a question on that.
Yeah.
Does it matter if there's a lot of spelling mistakes? Cause I noticed this time there are.
We can correct them, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You can probably, and Brian, you correct me if I'm wrong here, but approve those pending some changes.
Yeah. Hey, Ryan, I know you're using QuickBooks, right?
Yeah,
And you're doing it through the web?
no, it's a desktop.
It's a desktop version. That's a problem.
And some of those may be,
Account things.
like if we order stuff, maybe we copy and paste instead of using navigation, if they have word spellings.
Well, it's just stuff like health above it is correct and then below it it's
Nice.
heath and equipment. The letters are mixed.
Oh, okay.
It's just a lot of that kind of stuff. It's
I'll look at it and.
Yeah.
Got it.
Halloween mixed up.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
You can just take this entire PDF, drop it into,
Yeah.
and have it spell check it, and then you can go back in and fix the errors. I know it's not fun.
All right, little note for us.
But to the chief's point, the board can make a motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Subject to
Yeah.
correction of those errors.
Copilot, great friend.
Yeah, but it doesn't work.
Okay, anything else on those accounts payables? Any other thing else from the board?
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, anybody want to make a motion on that, or do we do all of, we can do all of them, can't we, on that one?
Let's
For these are-
let's do them one at a time.
You don't have a consent.
We don't have a
We
consent.
don't,
We do it.
yeah, we're gonna have to do it, so, all right,
I'll do it. I'll approve the accounts payable for October 2025. Pending spell check on the entire document.
I'll
okay.
second that.
And so it's a motion to approve, not approve, so it's a motion,
Spell check and revision.
Yeah.
Motion subject to or conditioned upon.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, Louise, you seconded that?
Mhm.
All right, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous, no pose, motion passes. Okay. Let's go to the minutes. For October. Those, any comments on that regarding that? Those had a chance to review it?
The meeting minutes to note for next go around. I did go on and watch the online Zoom after the fact where I was absent, but I will abstain where I was absent. So
Okay,
If you watch the meeting up, if I'm correct, you could vote on this as long as.
yeah,
Yeah, if you've reviewed the recording of the meeting, then you are familiar with it enough to review the minutes and make a representation as to whether you think they're accurate, you can vote on the minutes.
okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the October 9th, 2025 minutes.
I'll second.
okay, motion to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous, motion passes. We have discussion for approval of purchase of a Mega Grip exhaust.
Hey, Chair, can I make a recommendation?
Exhaust misspelled.
We, tonight is a discussion on our preliminary budget presentation.
Mhm.
We have two public here that would like to comment on that, but you have already closed the public input.
If you would comment on.
I understand, but I wonder if they can maybe comment on what they want to speak about if you reopen the public input. Ryan, is that? okay?
Ryan, is that possible?
Chair does retain that discretion, yes.
It's up to you.
But if I'm correct, they can't comment on anything that's on the agenda. Is that correct, or can they?
Well, and generally that's because when you get to the item on the agenda, that's when you would
Open up.
open up for that discussion,
Right.
right?
But this is a presentation, not a public hearing.
It's not a public hearing, but the chair always has discretion about whether to entertain public comment.
Okay,
So maybe we wait that.
Do you gentlemen mind waiting?
Yeah, we're good.
All right.
I'm in favor for the public expressing. So, but let's finish out these consent, they're not consent items, but let's finish this out and then we'll open it up to the public, so.
You good? Yeah, sure. That's fine. So we received a grant, like we kind of mentioned, the AFG grant, the American Firefighters Assistance Grant. And it was for 186,000. Now that's a 95%, 5% grant match. So we have 5% that we have to come up with to get that. We've been wanting these for 4 years and it's drastically needed. Each station, if you go into the stations, you check the walls, they're black. If you go check our furnaces, the exhaust is going into living spaces, sleeping quarters and everything, get blown through all.
So Chief, I don't want to interrupt you,
Yeah,
but
please.
just for the public, and so it's on the record, please do a brief summary of what this is. Why it's needed, why we think it's needed, what the purpose of it is.
Okay, I'll make it briefer then, because I was going long.
yeah.
So essentially, these are exhaust systems. So these exhaust systems they pull as the apparatus start up. They're magneted, because we're gonna go for this brand MagnaGrip. They're magneted to the exhaust system, and then as they drive forward, they slide along a rail and then they break off as they go out the door. And then when they get back, they hook up the MagnaGrip. So as they back up, the exhaust not going into the bay. The whole point of this is to help firefighters prevent cancer. Firefighters have the highest cancer rates in the United States because of our jobs. So this will help get to a point, because the stations were never built that way, to be able to get the exhaust out of our buildings and out of these guys' lungs and everything else that they're taking in.
And they have fans and they exit out the building.
It sucks everything out.
Right.
Correct.
They're
So-
very cool.
Great, and so as you mentioned before, 95% of this came through grant funding, we need to come up with 5%.
5%, which was roughly 25,000 is what we
It's budgeted.
budgeted for
And this has been on our long-term plan, as Chief said, since
from day one.
day one.
Yeah.
This
We
is
knew that
like
needed
something
to
we
happen,
need to
but we
do.
fell into this grant and it's just, we really should probably try and get the 25%. Now we have it, We also have the Hennifer building that we want to get upstaffed for, added building or bedrooms and such. And then also the Wanship one. And we'll talk a little bit during the budget presentation about capital where we're having some issues. Not to mention what we just had discussed about the operating funds too.
So this covers all three stations.
This will cover
Right.
all three stations. And we think just because there might be some additional, we don't know if we'll spend on 25,000. It's within my spending limit, but if you guys, I do like to talk about it with you guys and make sure we're gonna do it, but it's free money. If we don't take advantage of it now, we'll probably not have any time soon to be able to anyways.
Do those ever get like stuck or snagged on anything?
I've never seen them break away or get stuck on them or anything. I have seen the other brand, usually they have a pneumatic cup that goes around the exhaust system. And the firemen sometimes forget to pull the air out and it still squoze around the exhaust. And so they'll drive away and it breaks. So that's kind of why we want to go with the Magna Grip, so to avoid any additional future costs.
Gotcha.
So that's what the grant is gonna pay for.
All right, so it's strictly just a discussion. You're not asking us to move on anything on this?
No, you won't have to because as long as the state.
It's more than.
Yeah,
the total
that's-
grant's more.
The
Oh, yeah.
total
Right,
expense.
right.
Yeah.
So we need to have you guys approve it because the total expense is over my spending limit.
Right. Even though it's the money.
Correct. Thank you for the clarification.
So we probably need to reword that in on the agenda.
It's for deferred approval.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
The
right, yep,
recommendation
sorry.
is to go.
6.3.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
So just to clarify, the district's portion is 22,138.06.
Correct. And then we budgeted, just to clarify also one more time, 25,000 just in case anything else comes out with extra. So up to 25,000.
I can make this motion if you need.
One follow-up question, sorry. And those funds are available in the capital account
Correct.
without
Currently,
any
yes.
further, okay. Thank you.
Okay, I'll need a motion.
I'll move that we purchase and install the Magna Grip exhaust removal system for all three district fire stations with a total cost not to exceed $209,120.06 with the assistance to firefighters grant pending that award of $186,982, limiting the district's capital fund contribution to $22,138.06.
Does that have to stay
Up to
25,000?
25.
Up to 25?
So just change
Oh, you want that?
just in case.
You want the district capital fund contribution not to exceed
Not to exceed
$25,000. I'll amend it to say that. Yes, the district capital fund contribution not to exceed $25,000.
I'll second. Oh,
You got a second?
With a second, can I make one comment?
Yep.
Ari, would you be willing to amend your motion to clarify that the purchase should be through Sea Western Firefighting? Equipment
Yes.
On state contract?
Yes, per this document. Yes. Thank you.
Does your second still stand? Okay.
Ryan, see why we need you here with us to keep us on the right?
Money, right?
It's always better with Ryan.
Gotta let that down.
Good deal. Okay. We have a motion. We have a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion was unanimous. Motion passes. Right,
Here we go.
here we go.
So to kind of kick this off, yesterday we had a county council meeting where we presented our preliminary budget to them and they have tentatively approved it. So to kind of kick it off, usually how we do this is we well, all right, so go to that next slide, second slide, rather. Perfect. We're going to recap on our 2025 initiatives. And this is what we were able to accomplish this year. So I talked a little bit earlier about this next year. We're going to be switching to infers to switching infers to nearest is what it's called. So we started that this year. It's gonna go into next year. We have 2 firefighter AMTs behind about, in the Hennifer Fire Station. We were gonna staff that station, but as you guys remember, because the admin building has been delayed, the ambulance we just got in, everything was delayed roughly by about 6 to 9 months. So as long as we can go to RFP in December for a contractor to build out, starting in January, we're hoping, and maybe Don, you can guide us on this one a little bit. We're hoping maybe 6 months for a remodel. It's not a huge one. But if they find anything wrong like they did here in Coble with the black mold, it could delay it, right? So, anyway, so we're hoping for mid-year 2026 to be staffing Hennifer Fire Station. Now, keep in mind, the firefighters in Wanship will transfer over to the Hennifer Station, and then we'll try and remodel that one if we have the capital funds, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But so the water tender got fixed and is complete, so we were able to accomplish that in 2025. The ambulance, almost complete. I wrote this actually before we received it, so it is actually here now. It took literally 2 years. What I wanted to mention here is that is not uncommon in the kind of economy that we're in currently. Ambulances are taking 2 years, fire trucks are taking 4 years. And so we need to think about the future and see how we're gonna be able to pay for these things by saving slow money instead of just pushing this out. Try to save up over the next few years to be able to get some sort of replacement plan adopted by the board. Because that's where we need to land eventually, is on a replacement plan for our apparatus. The admin building, we touched a little bit on that earlier also. We should be in before the end of the year, we're hoping. Cross my fingers. Everything's pretty much done except for running the actual power to the building. Next slide. The 2026 initiatives, these are our goals. We're gonna continue a lot of the old ones that we weren't able to complete. So the Hennifer Fire Station, we're gonna have hopefully by, like I said, around July-ish. I don't want to give a firm date just because we don't know how long that project could possibly take. But by then we'll have 2 firefighters, AMTs in that station living 365, 24/7. So it'll have a brush truck and ambulance. It will have also a Type 1 engine, the Goshen engine that we purchased a little while ago. That's there currently. And then we also have a water tender out of there. It'll be great for jump staffing that whole area. So it's going to be pivotal to our operations. The next thing we just finished talking about is the exhaust system at each station. I'm going to skip over that one just because we finished it just a second ago, if that's okay. Making Hennifer and Wanship a livable space for firefighters with dorms is our goal for 2026, to do both of those. Now, we are going to have run into some capital issues with Wanship, we're assuming. But we'll talk about that here in a second. The emergency alerting system. So as we're doing these remodels, it doesn't make sense to do any remodels because those 2 stations have never had emergency alerting. So do you see this light right here? When a call comes in, you guys always hear those voices and dispatch coming across on our radios and overheads. That's what wakes up the firefighters all around the country to be able to go out, be notified of their emergency, to get out the door quicker. So that will be added to the Hennifer Station and to the Wanship Station. Excuse me. And then the creation of the 501c3, the Friends of North Summit Fire. We talked a little bit about that. Is there any questions on that slide for our initiatives? Any comment?
Yeah, the comment I have is the comment I bring up every year. Love the initiatives. You guys are doing a great job. And we see reports all the time about how we're reducing time. I'm seeing we're gonna bring up more fire stations. We're gonna have more staff. We're gonna have more people living in the fire
No
station.
more staff,
Well,
be clear.
yeah.
Yeah.
But what I'm not hearing is how that's going to drive down, from the time we get a dispatch to the time a firefighter goes out, or how we're going to decrease the time it takes to get to a place. All those things are covered, but that's not in the goals here. And to me, that doesn't communicate our core mission to our constituents. What taxpayers want to know is, how long is it going to take you to get here and save my life? How are you going to save my barn from burning down? And I don't see that there.
So that's a good
So,
point.
and you did it before,
We did.
but now we're talking about facilities. All those things are important. But I think all those things ought to be tied to retention of firefighters, because that saves us money.
That's coming up.
Getting to, but that ought to be, you ought to lead with that. you know, getting out quicker, doing our job better, which you are doing. We just need to tell that story.
Okay. No, that's a good point. I'll add a slide there. We'll lead off with, I'll put the other slide ahead of this one, but we'll maybe just add the retention part to this slide also.
Yeah.
And then the initiatives, I'll add in times and how these buildings will actually help respond. So while we're here though, just to the public, anytime that right now we're staffing Hennifer out of Colville, that's a 5 to 10 minute delay at times. And so if we can staff that station, we have under a 2-3 minute response time to anything in that little area.
See, and that means a lot to him. He's
Yeah.
sitting out there and all of a sudden you're saying, I'm getting to you 10 minutes earlier.
Yeah, so Steve, like, for
Great.
example, if you
Yeah.
have a child or anybody who's injured or needs help, they'll be there from the Hennifer Fire Station instead of from Colville.
So to that point, I think it also might be helpful and beneficial to talk about. I know we're talking about the stats, whatnot, but maybe we would break out where those stats are in relation to the North Summit area. Is it all Colville? Is it Wanship? Is it Hennifer? Is it Chalk Creek? Is it up Evanston, you know, up the canyon?
We used to be able to break those out, but that's changed, right?
Yeah, dispatch changed how they track that in their
Hmm.
system. So it used to tell us was it in
Yeah.
city limits, was it outside? Now it just says it's in the zone.
They zoned it.
Yeah, because even being a representative of Hennifer, and yes, we want a fire station, they're fully staffed, but does that only relate to how many calls a month as compared to the other two stations?
Right,
Cost benefit.
yeah, I got you.
Well, you
We'll
used
see
to
what we
produce
can-
the heat map, right?
We have the heat map, but the heat map is created through dispatch or from the
From the data from
dispatch.
dispatch.
So, well, and this will be better going next year. Nearest has mapping to it. So it'll be able to plot everything and show us where the calls are
Good,
happening.
good.
So that'll be something we will, just based off addresses and that, it'll start plotting them and saying,
So maybe that's a good.
That'd be helpful,
improvement
very
for us.
helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We may not be able to get it on the presentation in time, but maybe by next year's presentation.
Going
we
forward,
could.
yeah.
No, great points, all you guys. Next slide. That's just a picture to help the public understand what those exhaust systems are. So you can see along that rail up top where it says Magna Grip, it slides along there. So as it pulls out, the apparatus pulls out, how that tubing is like a vacuum that sucks the exhaust as it's turned on out through that system and up into the atmosphere. So it's not inside the building. So that's what we're looking at for that. Anyways, next slide. So this is where, to Ari's point, the NS50 opportunities, and we'll move maybe retention also down for an initiative. Because we're not having a hard time it's a mix. We do have some turnover and it's probably higher than it should be. So how we retain people does matter, but let me get to that here in a second. So buildings are gonna be a continuous repair, just like how we had to do the sewer that was leaking on people's head. A few years ago, the roof that was missing in Hennifer, the black mold that was actually right in that wall behind you guys, all of those things are still running into issues. And so, we'll just take that as they come and we'll deal with them as we can. So apparatus, we do have an old, now when I say we get these engines and I say they're new, they're old, they're new to us. But you know, for example, that Goshen engine that we bought from the city of Goshen, that's a 1995 fire truck. That's old for a fire truck. It did have low miles. The volunteers there, which they're going away from volunteerism, but they actually did a pretty good job maintaining it compared to some other volunteer agencies that we've seen. So we thought it was a pretty good purchase for $5,000, if you remember correctly. So we're gonna keep working on our fleet as we see newer trucks. Maybe we just have to keep sneaking money into that. Or if we can do like a one-time purchase, sign a contract and in 4 years get it, having saved money for 4 years, that might be an option too. The other option is for this portion is to get a one-time grant fund from the county, the ESST tax or the Emergency Sales Service Tax. They rebranded from the Rural Hospital Bill. Essentially, if we can get some of those funds, we can use that to help our capital. So just to kind of continue though, Fire Prevention Division, we were able to get a fire marshal that's been worth our weight in gold. He's been fantastic. New systems and processes are, like we talked about last time, are to the public. We were able to have an open house finally for the first time in history. The recruitment though, we did start a junior firefighter program. We have 2 firefighters from the area who are signed up for that. We've been working with them for about 8 to 9 weeks right now. So they're really good. They're about 18 years old. They didn't get into the next academy at the DATC, but we're gonna try and see if we can't work a possible internal academy within our own organization to see if we can't help them get certified by hopefully spring next year. But they're doing actually really good, so they're excited. And if we can keep getting local firemen, that'd be great. But we have had that application open for 4 years now with nobody applying. So locals. Retention, wage study analysis in 2026. We need to hold that every so often. So we started in 2022. We kind of did an overall wage study or analysis. We'll kind of conduct another internal one. Now, when we do these, we compare with other districts of our size. We try to get it apples to apples, so to speak. So the best we can, but keep in mind, if we're not getting low people that want to be certified, run as firefighters, etc. People from the valley, etc., come this way. They pass 10 fire agencies to come work for us. We have to be competitive, be able to retain it. So, and then just a reminder that we are on a merit-based system for firefighters. They do get an increase, a step increase every year. We're planning on a step increase of 5% this year for firefighters, and that's standard. So, next slide. So just to kind of recap for staffing review, that we're gonna have 2 staffed fire stations 24/7. That's gonna be a flip-flop of Wanchip to Hannaford this next year, but Colville will still always be staffed. The 12 full-time firefighters, AMT paramedics is what we currently have, 24 part-time firefighters, and that goes up and down according to retention, right? That's a kind of a moving target all the time. And then 3 administrative staff. Now, keep in mind, there was 4 there. We're down to 3. We lost Chief Jarvis because some of this retention issue, right? He had to pass 10 agencies to get here. He wanted to get closer to home. He did that. So we're not going to hire that position for a little bit. We're going to try and save some money for some of these projects and just try to be as frugal as possible. So next slide. Those are our call volumes, but like I said, we were able to get the 2019, 2020, and 2021, 3 more years above that. Kind of already talked about this slide, so let's continue. And I believe that's the, we go into revenue. So overall, we've rolled up all the sections into in our revenue section into just some categories. If you have any questions of what's in there, I can break that out. But essentially, our budget is not complicated. We have a amended budget that we're going for this year. So we're going to take all other revenues from 227,000. Well, let's round up 228,000 to 241. And then our tentative budget is going to be 310,500. So we have had an increase there. The property tax revenues, so those have stayed almost level. Notice here, though, it's a 3.5 roughly, and in your packet, you should have received the funding scenarios that we're going to talk about a little bit. It's about a 3.5% increase to the budget because we're asking for $100,000 of a truth and taxation this year to complement our operating budget, and that's what it's for. Just like we talked about earlier, we don't want to go back to borrowing money from the county again. Every single year, truth and taxation doesn't account for inflation and costs in general. So every year we get behind by purchasing. And so what it needs to end up happening is the state recommends doing truth and taxation every 3 to 5 years. By the time we get these funds, it's going to be 4 years. We're right there in kind of the middle of their recommendation. That's going to help us stay ahead. Otherwise, if we delay, all we're doing is we're pushing that truth and taxation further down the road, and that's only going to be a higher increase, just like anything else. So that's what that's for. So that's the difference between the 23 or 2,300,000 to 2,400,000. And then in your emergency medical services revenue, that stays pretty flat and even every time because that's the ILA that we have with the county. So the county pays us just like South Summit Fire and well, I won't mention Park City, but they also pay Park City, but they also pay them for a paramedic. Anyway, so they pay us $1 million and then they let us finally keep our revenue in that ILA, which is the difference, the 220. We stayed very conservative on these numbers, so we kept 2026's at 220. We hope to be over that this next year. We're always about 1 quarter behind collections because of collections from ambulances and things like that, so. That's our total revenue. So our budget next year is gonna be the 3,959,982 if we get our truth in taxation.
Question on the slide, if I may.
Please.
So under the 2025 amended budget, the bottom total revenue number is 4.3. I'm not seeing how that adds up. Because if I just look side by side, 2025 amended to the 2026 tentative, everything's going up. So why is the total revenue bottom line 2025 higher than the 2026 tentative?
So there is some lines that got rolled up that didn't add into a total, but the total got rolled up to.
So are you saying that's incorrect?
There's those bottom lines of the capital transfer
That were rolled up into the,
that got rolled up and not, the sum total. It just notice that.
we'll have to fix that, Steve.
Okay.
Thanks for catching that up. Let me just make a note that you fix the roll ups into what categories were they?
I think you've got hidden.
There's some hidden rows probably.
Yeah, that added up to there, we probably missed, yeah, so we'll fix
It'd
that.
just be good to see the difference between the amended versus the 28.
Yeah, there's, our fund balance from 24 comes over into the revenues that's getting transferred into capital. But that's what's missing there. For some reason, it just got,
Took it out,
yeah.
It's hidden, otherwise the numbers wouldn't add up.
Yeah.
yeah,
Just needs to be.
Yeah, I was looking at it while he was talking and went, wait, hold on.
good catch, thank you, browser. You go to that next slide, so that's the breakout, we'll make that adjustment and then it should correct this pie chart also a little bit. But overall, those are the revenues. Now into our expenses, we have contract services which have gone up to the amended budget, so from 2025 year to date to the amended budget, 193 from 182. We are going a little high on that because we do need some programs that the county is kind of needing, or I don't want to say forcing us, but pushing us in the direction that we need to get. So for example, an inspection software is called Civic Review to be able to do all they actually just hit us up today about nightly rentals that we have to start inspecting. And we're gonna be burdened with those this next year and ongoing, probably indefinitely is my guess. And then obviously, as you know, business inspections, things like that, the first time, anytime you start a new business, we have to do those inspections. We only have one guy doing all of this. We're all wearing very minimal or lots of hats. And so we expect that will go up a little bit. Buildings and grounds, we kind of brought down, but we left relatively high at 120 because we never know what's going to come up with these old buildings. So we kind of just went middle of the row on that one. Under fleet maintenance, we're going from 68 to 135 purely out of necessity because everything's continuing to break down slowly. Equipment and supplies, we're at 120 and that's going up to 175. But our tentative budget, we're going to take back down to 130. Some of that, Rouser, do you want to talk on that one a little bit?
The ones put in, but
Equipment and supplies.
I can't talk.
No, you're good.
So we just have some outstanding orders for this year that haven't come in yet that, we're just anticipating they'll hit before the end of the year. We'll, get a little back for this year in the audit, so just keep us in compliance with. It's better to have more there than,
And not be
Not
on surface. Yeah.
it's worse to get hit with, we went over budget, so.
And then moving on to other expenses, going from 19 to 33, and then we're going to keep the tentative budget at 33. Hopefully we come on down on that a little bit. That was the kind of a line that we don't know 100%, but in that line of total other expenses, we have food, we have supplies, background checks, and debt service interest with community relations. So what I want to clarify to the public on the food is obviously if firefighters are working like on that fire the other night for 6 to 12 hours, we need to feed them. And so we do. If we have incidents where they're, fighting wildland fires for days at a time, we also feed them. This is not just daily. I mean, if they're working a 48-hour shift, 2-day shift, not feeding them their personal food. We're feeding them during emergencies and different things. So then obviously our community development. Louise, you were a big proponent and advocate of this. We're expanding that a little bit. We want to get out to the communities, help the community a little bit better. We're probably going to have to help Hannaford a little bit more too. Hope to have maybe a community event there. I'm not sure how yet, but maybe we can strategize with Steve. And then payroll expenses. And so we're going from 2,098,000 to 2.7 million roughly. And then total transfers, we're gonna try and save 782,000. And which is really good. But notice that dip goes down for the tentative budget of 53,000. That's because everything has gone up, inflation and everything else. So we're not gonna be saving as much. Now grants obviously were really good this year, and you can see there, the only thing we didn't account for on that one is we didn't put in there the Ginsburg money, correct?
If not,
Because we're probably not gonna receive it to this next year. And then that's your total expenses, which will probably change a little bit according to that roll up that we have to modify on the revenue side.
so that total transfers on the expenses is what would be in there on the revenue side.
So under total transfers, you have transfer for impact fees because that's a separate fund, right? That has to be guarded. You have the transfer to capital, which is also a restricted fund. Then you have the fund balance to the next year that we help offset our operations and stuff with. Or to capital, whatever the board would like to do with that. Tyler, you want to touch on, and that's just kind of the pie chart, but you want to touch on capital, the next one?
Yeah. So. Obviously for this year's, our biggest expenses in admin building. Sorry. But next year's budget at 825, anticipating being able to remodel both buildings. And the $25,000 for what our portion of the exhaust systems would be. Yeah, that's not really a lot in there.
Pretty simple.
This year's does, and it does have in it, the planning, so all the plans that we had, the engineered plans and that have drawn for remodel and that, I think we're about $10,000, right?
So that brings me to the point of the capital. If we do the Hannaford Fire Station from January to roughly July, let's say, we're gonna run out of capital funds. Or get really low. And so we are gonna be requesting funds from the county, in our public meeting last night. Or not public meeting, but the presentation yesterday with the county. I did make your guys' request heard and mine also, but for that ESST money. I got the same answer I have been getting, essentially that, and Ryan, you can kind of explain the use of the ESST maybe, but here in a second. But essentially tomorrow they're having a meeting at 10 a.m. that we can watch. What was that?
9.
Oh, I'm sorry, 9 a.m. I will be listening in. They're gonna decide how, give us guidance on that ESST money, what they're gonna do with it. Essentially what I'm hearing, this is not confirmed until tomorrow, that there's gonna be $850,000 kind of as a grant program to capital projects, but not for operational ongoing costs. So again, I need you guys to understand the difference between operational costs, so that should be covered by our operations budget, our PTIF, and then the capital cost. County management doesn't want to give us those funds for our continued operating costs. So, but either way, even if they offset our capital fund, it's gonna help everything. So it'll be good.
Let me make sure I understood what you said.
Go ahead.
So you threw out a number there. Was that strictly for our district, or was it be divided between all three districts in the county?
From my understanding, $850,000 total is all the amount will be for
For
everybody to fight.
everybody within the county?
Well, all the organizations within the county that can apply for these funds. So for example, when this bill was written, it was fire, EMS, police. I'm trying to remember them all. Search and rescue. Was it?
Landfill.
Landfill was one of them. And then there's kind of some ones that really don't apply to us, like avalanche prediction. But those were essentially, so all those groups, if I can name them off for you. So between $850,000, you're gonna have landfill, North Summit, South Summit, and Park City Fire, Sheriff's Office, Search and Rescue and Cops.
Yeah.
PD from Park City. Am I missing somebody?
Counts that community,
What's that? Yeah, we did count.
or unless you count Kansas City Police too, I guess.
Oh, I guess Kansas City would qualify too. So all those organizations are gonna be wanting this grant money. I think we do have a good shot at it because of the need that we have compared to everyone else. There's no guarantee as of today. But I don't have an answer for you today on that.
Just to be clear, this is out of the 0.5% sales tax increase that was voted in last year. All, they used that money to fund existing line items, right? To free up money for other things. So there's only, they're saying 800 and something thousand dollars left that will be put up in one-time grants for next year.
That's my understanding with the caveat. I don't know what they're spending it on. I can't answer that part of your question. But
Well,
yes,
I mean, we can find out, but the
I would
answer,
say Ryan can answer.
the answer I got was, we're using that to meet current obligations, right? Freeing up those funds so that we can use them elsewhere.
Can I clarify just a little
Yeah.
bit? When we say we were talking about the county currently, not Orso Fire.
No, this is the county.
Correct.
Right.
Just
We
so
don't
we're clarifying
collect
for
money.
everybody.
And I think it's where the issue is with the public and the voters is it was not sold that way.
No, our logo, with Park City's logo, and the other logo is on there, and I'm gonna piss off some people. That's my job, right? You know, one of the council people has a job now that's being paid out of that money. Got a truck that's being paid out of that money. Our public was told this was gonna be done to keep property taxes down.
Right.
They said it over and over and over again. And to force us as an ACB to raise property taxes after that promise was made and maybe not kept is wrong. So there's no way I'm gonna vote for a budget that includes increased property tax after we just voted for that. I can't do it. Because when I'm out buying groceries or talking to people, they're jawboning me on this. Now, I understand your position. You're in a tight, tough position. But promises were made, promises are not kept. So, you know, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and I can't speak for the county. I have no right to. So.
I don't know, but I'm just saying we need to, as a group, as a community, not so much just us, but we need to talk to them and say, look, you told us no new property taxes. And they stand up and they brag about it every election. We don't raise property taxes. But if you look at it, and I know this isn't your fault, school districts.
I'll take it though. I got brought.
Yeah, well, but just, you know, from these people's perspective, from my perspective, because I pay property tax too. The school district wants something here. Snyderville Basin Rec wants a 15% increase. You know, so-and-so wants an increase. Everybody wants an increase, and then they brag that they're keeping their part of the property tax level. But it's being shifted everywhere else, and their overall budget's ballooning. It's not right. So they should raise property tax. They should give to pay for the things that now that 0.5% is paying for. And they should put that money where they said it was, on those logos, on those posters, when they were on the radio, when people came and spoke to, you know, publicly to every, you know, Rotary club. We heard it again and again and again. This will keep property taxes down. So I can't look at this and be happy. You know, I like option one. Scenario one.
Should we go over the fund? Does anybody else have any? Or Ryan?
Do you want me to jump in with anything?
Please, if you don't mind.
You know, directly to the concern that's been raised about the ESST. The council is meeting tomorrow morning in special session, and that's in the county courthouse here just down the road at 9 a.m. They have the agenda posted on the website. They have a Zoom link if you want to participate or tune in remotely. But on the agenda, they have posted a copy of the PowerPoint discussion showing a breakdown for what's anticipated for next year. And so that information is all out in the open right now, and the council will be discussing it tomorrow. So if that's something that you are particularly interested in, I know it's not, this isn't specifically on tonight's agenda, but I would encourage you all to participate in that meeting tomorrow and to attend. One thing I can share, and I think the chief may have already shared this at a prior meeting, but what was it in 2022, 2023?
The 10.
When, not related to the tax anticipation note, but rather when the county restructured EMS to allow each of the fire districts to run EMS within their own respective districts. At the time, the county utilized money to pay for that EMS that it essentially didn't have and had already been earmarked for other purposes and projects within the county. And they did so knowing that they were going to be proceeding the next year with putting the ESST to a vote. And so from a big part of that was we are going to be using that money that we bring in to pay for those EMS contributions we make every year to each of the fire districts. So the districts are getting some of those contributions from the ESST. That's how the county's contribution for EMS is being covered.
I do understand that, and I don't want to get into an argument about semantics, and I agree, and we were sitting right here, two of the council members were on our board at the time, and they explained it to us that way. The problem I have is, when I read the paper, or listened on the radio, or saw a council person speak in public, what they said was, you vote for this, it will keep your property taxes, or we'll have to raise your property taxes, right? Because they had allocated the money, they hadn't spent it. They didn't go down into the weeds and say, look, we've got this money already allocated. If you don't pay for this, then we're gonna have to raise these property taxes to cover that, but they throw our logos on it. So I think it was a bit of a shell game just for me, and that's what I'm hearing loud and clear. And I'm here on this board to communicate what my neighbors are saying. Now, I don't know what the rest of you guys are hearing, but that's what I'm hearing. And I don't know, these gentlemen want to speak. I'm sure they have.
Well, let's go with the presentation.
So before you move on, I'll just add, Ari's experience isn't an anomaly. We had the third council member come to our Jennifer Town meeting and say, this is what we're proposing. I said, well, it sounds like this is something that you're telling the public is a benefit to the North Summit Fire District. Well, it absolutely is. And so we won't have to increase taxes going forward. Here we are a year later, and we're looking for another 100,000 because we can't meet our operations. And so I've got my constituency of who I represent in Hannaford Town saying, look at the taxes that is North Summit Fire District. We just passed something last year, and now we're looking for another 100,000.
Well,
What gives?
To be clear, it wasn't last year.
The
Well,
0.5% sales tax
0.5%
for a
was.
while.
Yes.
The other was 3 years ago, and that's fine.
That's done.
That's fine, that's done. But again, they're saying, okay, well, let's set up 3 years ago, taxes went up significantly. Great, we don't need to talk about that or hash through that. But again, how it was represented as, hey, this is a one-time, it's gonna help everybody out, and now it sounds like the county level, you've got to go to the county and kiss their ring to get the special grant money that should have been set aside for the benefit of the North Summit Fire District. So
All the fire districts.
all the fire districts. So now, again, in good conscience, I'm with Ari, I can't vote for this saying that we need to increase this again. I think the county needs to be held accountable for the messaging that was provided to the voters when they passed this and the message that went forth. So I guess all that being said is, you know, our constituents and our voters, they're feeling the pinch of the economy. I mean, they can't say, hey, we need a 5% increase, you know, employer, give it to us because we can't make ends meet. I think it's tough for us to be sitting in this position and now say, hey, our operations have gone up and you know, inflation and whatever it may be. The argument is we need another 100,000. I think the message is we can't make it county, so it shouldn't be a grant. I know that's all politics, but that's kind of where I'm coming from as well, saying I can't in good faith say now's the time to hit our voting public with another $100,000 in tax increases. And then to piggyback on top of that, I'm kind of wondering the logistics of this truth and taxation next month. How are we able to send this to the county without truth and taxation meeting happening next month? Again, that's kind of a logistic thing.
I'm not sure if I follow that last part. Ryan, did you catch it?
So as far as our truth and taxation meeting, isn't that in December?
Number 10, yeah.
So I'm kind of wondering, are we getting the cart before the horse in sending to the county to
Well,
approve?
it's kind of a
the
hard
truth and
time. And that's
taxation?
where I think Ari mentioned that I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard
Yeah.
place. I have a budget to prepare now,
Right.
and I got to put out numbers now to get approved. We had to have a preliminary budget approved yesterday. Just like in my email, I said, hey, timing is not working out here.
Yeah.
But that's how it is on the fiscal year. We're off a calendar year. So I think that's maybe answering your question a little bit, but essentially I am stuck between a rock and a hard spot. But you have before you, I guess where I have to land this plane is essentially what we're gonna propose. And then whatever the county decides, because that's happening after we have to this meeting. I don't know what else to tell you, but I have to do my job as the executive to give you a budget. I've given you a budget. You guys can vote your whatever you want. The only thing I would ask for is this. You know our operations. You know, we just barely got out of the TAN, the tax anticipation note. We're barely making it on our operations side of things. And so you guys have a decision to make to either support that without the information we have necessarily for the ESST, unfortunately.
TAN doesn't come in to play for me, because TAN is cash flow issue. TAN is, we're gonna get the property money at the end of the year anyway, so.
But how much? And can we cover our operation?
Yeah, I know, that's
Just so
it'll
we're
cost
clear.
us interest, right?
Yeah.
No, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a mechanism in place to handle that. As long as we wash out at the end of the year, the TAN does concern me, and I worked really hard to make sure that didn't happen with you.
Right.
Thank you.
You remember, we're not washing out at the end of the year. You know that we're borrowing to pay ourselves back.
Right,
Okay.
yeah,
So currently we're not. So I guess that's where I would disagree per se.
yeah. I'm really good at that, but I'm good with numbers and I'm good at reading these.
I know.
But what I'm saying is, I don't want to raise taxes just so we don't have to do TAN.
Yeah.
Right? For cash flow. You know, at the end of the year, the budget needs to be right. You've done a great job here. I would love to have had this conversation earlier and to push council on this and to communicate this back to the people. That didn't happen. So I would have loved that to have happened. Talk too much.
So maybe a rhetorical
No,
question,
well-
a rhetorical question, I'm sorry. Just a rhetorical question, perhaps on the truth and taxation in December. So people ask me if they should go to it. What benefit is it if everything's been decided after the fact? Again, maybe a rhetorical question.
You gotta use a rhetorical, I'm not gonna answer.
So
'Cause I don't know if I have an answer.
that's the problem in my opinion.
Okay.
But, and again, not your problem, but just a timing logistical problem.
Well, we get put, this is the hard part, and again, rock in a hard place.
Yeah.
We get put in the limelight of this because we were the vehicle that that was sold off our backs.
This is a
I don't know how
critical
else to say it.
service.
Exactly.
This is, I would argue, the most critical service in the county.
It's a pretty crappy part to be in this situation, I'll be honest.
All right.
But again, it doesn't have to do with us. These are the county funds, county tax. It wasn't ours. So that's where I have to land. Go ahead.
If it helps by means of clarification, the need for the truth and taxation hearing depends on the budget that you recommend. Right? So depending on the budget you recommend, there may or may not be a need for a truth and taxation hearing.
Sure.
And then when you come to that night in December, they have to schedule the truth and taxation hearing prior to the budget hearing. So that's just how they.
Just I'm telling you, I'm recommending this and the TNT for operations. I hope and pray we'll get the capital, which again would help offset and wash everything out like you mentioned. That would help. I can't promise that though. And I don't know, I have a crystal ball just like you guys don't. So we're making some assumptions here, but I have to be in the best interest of the fire district. That's where I have to land. And the best interest of the fire district is that we need a buffer for our operations. And we need to get there at some point. And if we keep pushing off truth and taxation because of what the county does, regardless of what we do, all you're doing is kicking a can down the road. It'll be 10% next year, and that's what I'll recommend. Or
Yeah, maybe. So,
right.
so, good discussion so far. So, Louise and, or you guys been a little quiet, so.
A lot.
So I got, if you guys got anything you'd like to add, let's do it now, because I got, after you're done, I'd like to ask Brian a few questions before we proceed, Chief, so. Nothing.
I'm just
Louise?
trying to make sense of it all. I mean,
So-
I've heard the same kind of things.
Yeah.
So,
But kind of what we talked about in one of our previous meetings, just like you said, we're kicking the can down the road if we don't make these maybe smaller adjustments, smaller increments at a time rather than, yeah, like you said, 10% next year if we don't get what we need. So yeah, and I feel like it puts everybody in between a rock and a hard place. Nobody wants to spend extra money on taxes. I mean, everything's already so expensive as it is.
And it's not just some county, it's everywhere, Dave.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm. So it's just balancing that all out.
Okay. Brian, the question for you is, Chief presented a tentative budget to the council yesterday. If for some reason we deny that budget today in this board, what happens then?
Well, the idea is you will make a recommendation tonight of a budget. It may not be the one that the chief is proposing or recommending. It may be the one that he's proposing or recommending, but because of the timing of things, unless you want to come back for a special meeting later this month, one of your duties as a board is to vote on, to recommend your budget, right? Your current year budget amendments, and then your next year, your budget, final proposed budget for 2026 for capital and operations. That is one of the duties of the ACB. You have to vote on to recommend those budgets to the council for final approval. You get to decide what you want to recommend, but you do have to vote to recommend something.
And the council, if I'm correct, can amend that budget. They're the ultimate approval
Oh, yeah.
authority.
That's correct.
Right.
You said in a recommending capacity.
Right.
For
And
budget.
candidly, if I may, we can get all the way to December 10th and they change their minds on ESST and say, actually, we're gonna give you this money. It's possible.
Or you could recommend truth and taxation and they could decide that they don't want to go through with it. Or you could recommend you don't want to go through with it and they could decide that they do. But at the end of the day, you still have a duty to discharge as a board to put together in good faith what you believe represents the best forecast for a budget for next year and to make that recommendation to the council.
And this is where it becomes difficult. You have it in front of you. And I don't mean to be crass here. I want to be very sensitive to this. Me as the executive, I have to land in the support of the fire district. My goal is to create an organization that's going to last well beyond your guys' tenure and mine and anybody else in the future. If I recommend something different, then I feel like I'm derelict in my duties. I will be recommending this budget.
Gotcha, chief.
Sorry, just one
Go ahead.
question. Is there a way to like set up like a contingency type thing to say, okay, this is the recommended budget, but if we do get money from the ESST, then plan B or whatever,
They
like,
can be wherever they land. If the contingency was that they pay something, that's what they'll do.
The best option would be ongoing payments of a set amount based on what.
Absolutely.
coming from sales
In fact,
tax.
if you notice, if we,
I don't know.
yeah, if you go to your funding page. Second to last page, you have status quo. Number one, which, obviously is deficient for 1 year. Minimal is 3%, and this is kind of rough estimates. Moderate 6%, aggressive 10%, and it gives you all the reasons, the 3-year outlooks on those. So 3-year moderate at 6%, stabilize us for 2 years, strong surplus, very strong. Now, and then obviously the one-time capital, to your point, is exactly what we want to try to avoid. We want that capital for the next 10 years, if possible. That's the goal, and that's honestly, again, number 5 would be the best case scenario, TNT plus county support.
There's nothing in that legislation that says that tax money is limited to capital funds. There's
And
nothing.
you'll have to have that conversation.
I know, but there's nothing in that legislation that says that.
Sure.
So
And-
for
and I
that, for them
completely
to
understand.
chop you off at the knees and say,
Well, it's
you can
not
only
me.
use it for capital. No,
Again,
the council's coming to you and telling you that.
oh, well, they tell me that, but again, it's not my bill. I understand the bill completely.
Yeah.
Whether I agree or disagree, because I'm not political, doesn't matter. You guys need to help that, not me.
Yeah, gotcha.
So one more point of clarification on that page you're looking at.
Yeah.
So if you look at either scenario 2 or 3, that basically gives you 2 years, a 2-year window, right?
Yeah, depending on what they.
So you would have to go through truth and taxation again in 3 years anyway.
Oh, yeah, but again,
Right? Is that kind of how I'm reading that?
yeah, again, I'm not changing my stance. I'm not against truth and taxation.
Right. I'm just thinking time ways. You're saying between 3 and 5 years,
Roughly.
even scenario 2 and 3 is going to require another 2 or 3
Let's
years.
say it's another 3 years that we go by, 3 or 4
Yep.
years, and we do another 3 or 4% increase. Yeah. Every organization has to do that in the United
Okay.
States.
So I want to make sure I was understanding the timing.
Yeah, roughly.
Okay.
And again, those could be tweaked, I would agree. Hey, and honestly, if you guys decide, and maybe this is where we also can land, or the next board, because we are losing 3 of you. If they say, hey, we want to, instead of taking all of our transfer to capital, maybe we take some money 200,000 of that every year. We start building up our operation.
Yeah.
Yes, we're still building capital, and if they help us with the capital, we're good, and we can still be funding our operations. That's where I would like to land.
The other thing I'm not seeing here is any revenue projections for growth, which, you know, while Holly will kick back up and people keep talking about.
Right.
I know you.
I
can't
don't
put it
do
in.
projections. I'm not an economist. I'm a fire chief.
Right, right.
If you want that, I can get that for you, and we can pay for an economist to come out and give us some stuff. But right now, I don't do that, and I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
That's a specialist that would have to come in and give you a
But if we
study.
look at what's being approved for building and what's in the pipeline, that exists and we can get that from the county.
Yeah, I mean, to be candid, I kind of went over a little bit of what I understand of the economics a little bit is you do have Red Hills, 350 homes. That will help. But again, those residential impact fees are small, they're tiny.
Yeah, but those people come online, start paying taxes. That's
Agreed.
incremental taxes, day one.
Right, but again, to capture that growth, you have to go through TNT
No, you don't.
to capture the growth.
No, you do not.
Okay,
That's
well,
brand new tax money on a new home. It's not TNT.
That's fair.
That increases our tax revenue. Every new house.
So if those
Net
go
new
within
house.
the next year or two, then that scenario, that funding scenario you're talking about, Steve, would change.
Right.
Right.
And if
Right.
Holly gets bought out again, that changes. That's
Yeah.
roughly, what did we figure about 350 homes between the two types?
150 is residential, 300 of the.
Neither rentals. So that will help too.
Yeah.
So all these things could change because of economics, for sure.
Yeah.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
If I have the answer.
I hope you do. I see in here that you have different scenarios, right? Status quo relative to 3%, 6%, 10%. What was noticed in the postcards that were mailed out?
Oh, this is not exact. It's the actual tax is 4.56, I believe, percent change. What was the?
Yeah,
Okay,
there was, the specific notice was,
Yeah.
what the 100,000.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear that
They're the
if there is a vote to proceed with the chief's proposed budget, that it's not based on these figures, it's based on the percentage that was included in the mailings and the public notices.
Yes.
Okay.
But if we were to pass scenario one here, it doesn't include that. If we were to
Well-
make that recommendation,
Mhm.
then they would exclude the TR, but that would be up to the council to override us at that point.
And then honestly, here too, let me throw this out at you. That's why we're recommending to you guys number 2, because that buys us some time at the simplest form. Breaking this down Barney Rubble style. It is 1 year. And then heck, we'll really know within the week, I'm hoping. But then truly we'll have to apply for the grant if they do this way. And then we'll know, he said that it would potentially be available by January 1. So all we're doing by this is just simply making sure we go through truth and taxation. And I really do trust the county council that they know if they do change the ESST, they'll deny the TNT, which we're happy with at that
And
point.
he you're referring to would be Shane.
Did I say he?
Yeah,
I mean, they,
okay,
sorry,
that's okay.
county council I'm referring to, sorry.
There are 2 women on county council.
Yeah. I should say-
Balance
They,
county
them,
council.
and I don't know, whatever.
One of them comes from this district.
So, Chief, I think we've got, and this year, we're gonna have to bring it to a vote, so, I echo similar responses to, Ari and Steve had mentioned, because this last week, I have been contacted more about this last week than I have the whole time I've been here. And regarding this one issue. And I had, everybody was, how could you do this? It wasn't asking why or what you're doing. It's just more tax increase. So I think that the way it looks without having to vote, we're in trouble with this presentation in the sense of moving forward with your recommendation, but we're going to bring it to a vote. So,
Mr. Chair, if it's okay with you,
Yeah.
before we vote, these 2 gentlemen have been here for a long time.
yeah,
Would you maybe entertain the idea of giving them an opportunity to speak?
Or were you finished?
yeah, I'm finished. So
I'm sorry.
that's good.
I wish I had a fully.
So we'll open it up for the public.
You want to just state your name and then you come up here so the cameras can get you.
Okay. My name's Tyler Warble. I live up at the top of Chalk Creek. I, echo a lot of the concerns that you guys have brought forward tonight. I appreciate, those of you taking my phone calls this week that I was able to talk to. I understand that Chief Nelson, has a very specific job to do to build a department to respond quickly, improve those times and to keep up with the number of calls that keep coming in. And I think that you guys as well, see that responsibility and, try to increase that. I appreciate already bringing up the concerns about the taxing that was voted in last year and how that's going to be utilized, on the county side. I think that if we can find that line between, we're gonna have all new equipment, and what we actually need to get by until that future growth comes in with the new tax revenue. I mean, you drive up and down just Hoytsville Road and, you see all the new houses going in and stuff. And so that's gonna bring in a lot of extra tax revenue. So, up Chalk Creek, we're dealing with the service area right now that we're just getting slayed on taxes. And so this is the reason we came down, if we can avoid that 10% or any increase at all. I mean, we're already paying a lot into the fire district. That would be great for us and look for that increased tax revenue from the growth that's going to be coming our way. So that's all I've got. Thank you very much for your time serving on this board.
Kevin Orgel. I just wanted to educate myself, basically. I appreciate what the board, I've been on some of these boards and they're not a real great job, but I appreciate you guys dedicating your time for the public because you're our spokesman, you're representing, like you say, you send the mailer out. It's always good to get them mailers because that gets things wound up and everybody seems to want a piece of the pie. But I appreciate you guys representing us and like the fire district, they've got Tollgate, they got Chalk Creek, they got Echo. I mean, they got a little bit of everything. They're gonna get their butt kicked. By the time they get to Chalk Creek, we'll be broken marshmallow, so it's not just around there. But thank you for your service and the fire district. There's a lot bigger than the county and everything else, but everybody seems to want a piece of the pie, and that's a concern because we're kind of pricing our youth out of our county. And that's a concern. That's a big concern. So thank you. Thanks.
Okay. We need a motion.
Did you get a chance to say what you really wanted to say? All you want to say?
Did I have a chance? I did, yeah, till we have a vote and we'll visit with the chief and for everybody publicly, so.
If I were to make a motion, and I'm not supporting this yet, the only scenario I could support would be that first scenario that has no
The status quo.
taxation, right? The status quo. At this point, the way it's presented, unfortunately, I think we could probably sharpen some things and, but at this late date, I don't think that's possible. So sitting here right now, what I've heard, the feedback I've heard, the only motion I could make would be to move forward with scenario one, which revises the budget that Chief presented to the council.
And to further possibly force the county to veto what we decide here, if we go with one, because that's the way I'm leaning as well.
Well, the county can do that, whether they can
Right,
do
but
it no matter
it
what.
forces
So
the issue.
the council can choose whatever path they,
Yeah.
but
That's what they're good
as a board, we have a board, we can say, well, this is what we've chose. Chief, just some comments publicly. I think you've had great support. You've done very well, particularly over the last 4 years. And so I think we've tried to help you get to where this is in the sense of getting the firefighters you got, the organization you have in place. It's been a tremendous thing to watch for me in the last 5 years. But I think this is one thing where perhaps you won't get everything you want, but knowing who you are and how professional you are, you're going to find a way to work it out so that you have a good organization no matter what. And I know that you can do that. So let's open this up, get a motion going and go forward with it. So.
Mr. Chair, as you do, sorry, Chief,
No,
just
okay.
to remind the board that you will also need to vote on your amended 2025 operations and capital budgets
It'll be the two motions.
in addition to the 2026.
I'll move that we adopt the amended 2025 budget as presented
I'll second that.
For operations and
for
capital.
operations and capital. Yes, pending the not the unhiding of the cell of the transfers.
The roll up.
That is missing, right?
Yes.
Transfers to and from capital. Yeah.
And that I will second.
Okay, Steve, you got a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Unanimous, motion passes. All right, now we're down to the big one.
So I guess I'm a little confused on, is the motion to move, get back up to there, to move the budget as presented or to not move the budget as presented? I guess, what are our options that we're motioning? Help us
So,
understand that, right?
sure. There will need to be a motion to recommend the 2026 operations and capital budgets for approval by the county council. Now, you get to decide in your motion what you want that to look like. Do you want that to be, your recommended budget is identical to the 2025 budget? Do you want it to be the budget is presented in one of these scenarios? But you, right, there will need to be a vote by at least 3 of you supporting a budget for 2026.
But if you went with the 2025, it's not any one of these scenarios.
No.
Well,
It's one
that's,
by itself.
But it-
well, status quo,
Yeah.
right, status quo
Status
is option 1.
Is it option 1 now?
It's sort of option 1.
Sort of,
But not
Not
exactly.
quite.
Essentially, you would just make the motion saying, hey,
Yeah,
you want to keep it maintained without TNT.
We can actually say option 1 since you presented it in the packet.
you can make that recommendation and then the chief will present a budget to the council that reflects the option you recommend.
Gonna take a stand at this. Steve.
Do we motion to have a special session to think about this, talk about it more,
I
Have
wonder about that
closed
one.
door, whatever?
Well, we can't have a closed door meeting about this.
Okay,
right?
but we could have a special session.
You can have a special
session.
Okay.
You need some extra time to think about it.
I mean, I'm comfortable making a motion and approving a budget based on option 1 as presented by the chief. In no way does that mean we don't support you or the great work
I
your people or
appreciate
folks are
that.
doing here. It's phenomenal. And I echo comments here that you guys have knocked it out of the park. And I will also add, you are the right person to do it and to spin this thing up.
Thank you.
So, that being said, I'm comfortable making a recommendation based on option 1 because it doesn't include the truth in taxation funding. So for me, that works.
What would the difference be of the status quo versus the 2026 tentative budget less the 100,000?
Less than CRT.
It's just gonna be, we'll have to go back in the
You'll have to go-
expense section and lower different expenses by 100,000.
But it doesn't, but that budget doesn't exist.
Right,
We're
right.
looking at option 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Where you're showing in option 1, would that be the same as if the 2026 proposed
Well, what I would,
tentative less the 100,000
what I
increase?
propose is we probably ought to sit down and have that special session.
Okay.
Give you guys this operational budget and you guys can choose what you want to cut.
And honestly, that option 2 works for me too, as long as you pull the TRT out and say, okay, look, assuming we get this money, I'm okay doing that one too.
Well,
Clarify that one for me, Ari, so one more time.
So you have your option 2 has,
With the 3%.
it includes some TRT money.
Yeah.
But it also I would remove the truth and taxation money, but it includes that grant money that you might get. Right?
Number 2 did not, I think it was number,
Still have that.
5?
Five.
Yeah, number 5, that's the one.
Five, yeah.
no, you're good, I just want to clarify. because I was
There's
confused.
so many options.
Yeah, it was, no, it was actually number 5, TNT plus county support.
Right, so what I would do is have a number 5 that includes county support minus truth and taxation. I could support that. My line in the sand now is the taxation. I can't.
I agree with that.
Well, and
Can I ask the board a question?
Yeah.
Is it ever a good time for TNT?
Yeah.
Next year, 3 years from now, 2 years from now, 4 years from now? What is it?
My feeling is that it would be much more palatable to constituents on a
Next year?
5-year cycle. So 5 years from
Even
we
if
got
your
the three.
budget doesn't,
Yes, and I'll tell you why. If we had not raised the 0.5%, we would be having the truth and taxation conversation right now here. I'd be okay with that.
Absolutely.
But we need some space and we need to know how they're gonna spend it. So if we get that clarity this year, great. If we start seeing a bunch of new houses come online, wonderful. You know, if you need me to roll up my sleeves, I know that there's no way the council's gonna approve me being here again. So I'm a short timer, but if you ever need me to roll up sleeves and do those projections, I'll help you do it.
I appreciate that.
But my feeling is, as my time sunsets on this board, that this is not the year. I mean, my notice came the day my property tax bill came in the same packet. The timing couldn't have been any worse, and my phone blew up. And I'm never gonna run for anything, so I'm willing to take it for you, but we're here to tell you what the constituents are saying.
well, and my concern,
And I'm here to tell you what the budget needs.
No, I got it. No, and I'm not arguing the numbers.
but along that same line, I'm kind of with Corey with, I'd really like one more meeting.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to know what happens if we do Hannaford, but we don't do one ship right now. What kind of conversations can we have that would cut things down? Keep them still in the picture, move it along a little slower pace. You know, that's the kind of background and knowledge I feel like I need to have to make these kinds of decisions. Just
I don't
looking at
disagree with you.
this numbers is like, I don't see the consequences here and I want to feel the consequences.
I get what you're saying. My concern would be is anytime you brown out a fire station, you take service out of somewhere, it's not good usually for the board.
But
But I understand what
But
you're.
I
you
mean,
told us temporarily you were shutting down
We
one
have.
ship. Yeah, so you're doing that
But I'm
anyway.
saying delay it how long? A year, 2, 3, 4? I don't know.
Well, that's
No.
deadly for people up there, you know.
Yeah, well, and
Which
it
the
does
bulk
you
of the
too.
population is up there according to your heat map that you have.
Oh, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot of people.
That is the
And
biggest.
you serve them out of
station.
here?
and do you do it the other way? What kind of conversations can we have regarding the rest of this budget?
Right.
Because it's just a number to me. It's not a, where's this money getting spent?
That's my point on the presentation. What you're proposing is Hennifer had staffing because you guys happened to be there
At
during
times.
9 to 5, let's
Sure.
say, right? So.
If we're not at a meeting.
Right,
not late or
right.
Whatever. Sure.
But you had spotty coverage. There was sort of coverage. We had coverage here and we had coverage in one ship. So, we're asking for an increase and we're saying, well, for part of the year at least, there's gonna be no one ship. I understand why, but it's just,
Logistically, it just has to.
I know it's tough.
Can I offer a recommendation to the board?
Sure.
If you are entertaining a special meeting to give yourself some more time to think
We
about
gotta
it,
notice this
because,
thing too.
you'll definitely have to notice it, yes. But I would encourage you all to attend tomorrow morning's special council meeting because that discussion may influence where you want to go.
Yeah.
As you get more information from the county council's thought process on the ESST.
Are they taking public comment on that?
It's not noticed for public comment. It's not a public hearing. It's a work session. So it'll be within the council chair's discretion to entertain public comment.
She won't.
But they are gonna have a public discussion about this. And so that may prove insightful as to where their thoughts are on this.
I think you have a more detrimental, just comment to the board if I may. I wonder if you have a detrimental by closing Wancha for more than a year, when people are gonna be going through this House Bill 48 thing, is gonna affect them losing insurance coverage.
Oh, yeah.
That toll gate area especially.
And I agree, that's the kind of
That's the kind of thing we
conversation
need to
I
have.
need to know. It's like,
Yeah.
what are the consequences?
Mhm.
Yeah,
that I'm
I get
not
what you're
seeing.
saying. Well, and we'll bring you as much as we could foresee,
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a good question you have.
Well, and I'm curious too, if we do push this to a special session, being able to attend the meeting attend the meeting tomorrow and then get that additional information, then have the special session.
We
Give
can
us a
zoom
little bit
into
more.
that meeting too. We don't-
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I don't wanna, if all of us show up and just start reading.
No, it's-
It's-
yeah.
Yeah.
that's the way I'm leaning because I really feel
They don't
like
like me.
I need more information.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. Sounds like Corey's maybe there too.
Would you like to have us work up a small working group, subcommittee, just a recommendation, Mr. Chair, that would maybe say what we would like to look at so that we could feel comfortable making that decision on the other end?
What part, like, look at what? What do you-
Well, what sort of information we need? So, we would like to see timelines on station closures and what would be open and what wouldn't be, and, you know.
We could do that. It'd be a projection for any of us.
Right,
Mhm.
But yeah, we could do that.
right.
I don't know if it helps much, to be honest with you, having a working group, or we could do that and then just call you and say, hey, what do you think? What do you foreseen? You know what I mean?
So some of this sounds like a good idea, but let's look at the calendar. What type of time frame do we have to do this?
14-day notice? Is
No,
that
24 hours.
24?
For the meeting, but when do we have to have the information? To
I have to have the information then at the
The
either
Thursday before the meeting.
So it'll be the 4th of December.
4th of December, we have to have something presented to the council before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the 10th, okay. So we have to have a decision by then.
Yeah.
So if you
So
want.
end of the month. To be safe.
So I guess if we say, it sounds like the board wants that, you guys would need to decide on what date you want to hold your special meeting.
How much time do you need, chief, to get your stuff in order?
Well, if we don't do the subcommittee, which I think honestly would be best, just talking to each one of you individually, if you guys can take a phone call saying, hey, what do you think? We can kind of brainstorm. A week or two. Or less, I could probably get some help with staff and maybe some of these guys to help me out.
So I'm gonna just give you my opinion. And so Ryan, do I have a chance to do that as a chair to give opinion on
Absolutely.
before we vote? So I think you have three that are pretty firm on the truth in taxation. So
In what regard?
in regards of if we go to truth and taxation, it'll probably be a negative vote. I think that's firm. I haven't been voted on yet, but that's we're leaning 3 for sure. So we need to determine, this option 5 or option 1 and what that means to us and what Louise and Corey are looking for and how that affects the organization overall. Am I wrong in stating that as a board? Are we there with that? So I don't think you need to focus everything on all the other options. It's just strictly the 2. And how that's going to affect the organization and what what it means.
So we'll look into the budget and where we can cut $100,000. And then the effects of like I'll call them subdivisions in the area and the constituents.
Yeah.
If it'll affect their insurance, just as we're here right now, if you guys can think of anything, maybe just I'll jot it down. So insurance getting dropped up in probably the toll gate.
But
We
no-
shut down a station for long term.
All these budgets include a one-ship shutdown for some period.
Again, but what we're talking about is an ISO rating. They only come every few years.
Yeah,
So if we temporarily brown out a station for a remodel, they're not gonna come in the next 6 months and redo an ISO rating.
no, but if my wife has a heart attack during that 6-month period.
I agree with that.
ISO, I don't care about.
Correct.
You know,
So you're talking not so much insurance, you're
Right.
talking emergency response.
I'm talking emergency response,
Okay, I get that.
because I love my wife, for the record.
Publicly.
I'd like that reflected in the minutes.
Well, again, 70% of the calls are EMS calls.
Yeah.
70%, I mean, that's where the chunk is.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
You know.
So agreed, yeah.
So, how it's gonna affect the service areas or subdivisions, insurance purposes, emergency response, budget. Anything else you can think of at least today?
Yeah, I'd like to see to build out timelines on those regardless, I know it's not budget related
Timelines on
here,
what?
timelines on each one of those stations. And if there's downtime and when you're gonna spin them up and when you're
Yeah,
expecting.
and that's gonna be projections because we haven't even done the RFP for the
I know,
contract
I
yet.
got you,
Okay.
but that would be nice to know, and if this budget's gonna have any effect on that.
So we're just looking at in-depth stuff for scenario 1 and 5.
Right, or anything else you can come up with that doesn't include truth and taxation.
Well, I'm thinking, I'm looking at the maintenance one. I mean, that one went up substantially.
Yeah,
Right?
you know your buildings and apparatus are failing.
So
Yeah.
maybe is there something there that could be postponed a little bit more that,
Well, we just got everything running, I mean,
I know,
but your two wonkiest trucks are gone.
No, you just bought a 1990.
But compared to Bubble truck,
Oh,
that thing's in much better shape. It's in good shape.
I think it's in comparable shape.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, I don't, like, the day we brought it home, coming up over, the hill Mayflower,
Yeah.
you were blowing white smoke. We just bought something that's already broke.
Gosh,
We didn't know that until we bought it, even after the
and
mechanics.
you got water
looked at it.
going through the engine, wonderful,
And it blew, right,
nice,
so, no, I don't think you're right. Candidly,
Hmm.
yeah, all right.
See, that's the stuff you know that I don't know.
agreed.
And that's where I'm
But
like,
you do know, I have been preaching 100%.
Oh, I know,
You do
yeah.
know the apparatus and the buildings are failing.
yes, I know that.
Yeah,
I'm very clear with that.
You've been very forward with that, and I don't want to tie your hands.
and we love the brush truck.
And
I
you
mean,
have, well, and
I-
keep in
I
mind,
mean,
you
not the
have a
restaurants, but-
diminishing capital budget,
Yeah.
extremely diminishing.
But I mean, I love the mini pumpers. That thing's phenomenal.
Yeah, but you can't have mini pumpers in every station. You'll lose your ISO rating.
Well, you can have them, but you also have to have a type 1.
Yeah, which is more millions of dollars. So you just have one, not two.
But you could run mini pumpers out on most calls.
Yeah, but then you have a type 1 aging and sitting there not being used.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, the less you use it, the less maintenance it needs.
That's not true, because as they sit there, they wear out. gas
Well, I
gets
mean,
dry out
you're
and
gonna
everything else.
still crank it up and run it, but you're not gonna hit it as hard. We can have this.
Yeah, let's-
These are the conversations we need to have. These are the conversations we need to have during this meeting.
Fair.
And I would also say that having them throughout the year as opposed to bringing them in this meeting when, I mean, a lot of us haven't met with you. and
Oh, but we have
Yeah.
about apparatus and buildings. To say that would be, I'd take offense.
I can't remember the last time.
I remember it specifically. I was en route to look at the Goshen engine.
I know, but having them.
In the last
where we-
couple months, you and I had the
We
conversation.
did have a conversation, but we didn't pull out the
Okay.
numbers and go down through all the charts. and-
Agreed.
Yeah. That hasn't happened in a while.
Okay.
Okay. Good discussion. So, we need a motion for the special meeting.
We need a date figured out to make that motion.
Yeah, and Thanksgiving is that last month of
2
November.
weeks, yeah,
Yeah,
2 weeks from today.
and so you can't do the 27th.
But what is the fourth? What is it? October,
fourth is-
December the
is
fourth.
Fourth is
when they
due
do it all.
date.
No, I mean the first. It's a Monday.
Can we do that Monday, the 24th? Before
Monday the
Thanksgiving?
24th or December first?
December 1st.
I'm out the first.
I could do both of those.
I'm out of town the 1st, if you want a lawyer there.
I'd like the lawyer
I
there.
think his wife.
Yeah, I think for this is kind of important here.
The 24th then, does that work?
Don't want to put you guys at any risk. We need Ryan there.
Yeah,
24th work for you guys?
when you're able
Oh,
to,
whatever. Yeah.
will that work okay for you, Ben,
For me, yes. Rouser, are
Tyler?
you out of time?
I get home that morning from my trip, so.
Perfect. No big deal.
It's still 6 o'clock to get home.
Days?
So I was planning on being to where I. get
No,
home.
this is a special meeting. You don't have to do 6. You can do during the day if that works, but I understand jobs and everything, so.
6
Okay,
works.
so-
Oh, 6 works.
Does it work for you?
November 24th at 6 P.M.
Okay,
I'm holding it.
And the meeting tomorrow morning is where, at what time? 9 o'clock?
9 a.m. on Zoom.
It's on Zoom?
Here, I have a link from Granicus, right?
Or
You
is
sent
it the
that to me
courthouse and
earlier.
council chambers?
Or, yeah. or-
Okay.
Which is easy.
I think I'd go there.
Yeah, you would. If I were you, I'd go.
You have that link. You send it to me, I'll send it.
that'd be
Right
good.
this meeting. Is that okay if you guys get it in your email?
Mhm.
Now, if you notice, every time I email you guys, I have 2 emails per person. So I just put them all in there. So hopefully you're getting that.
And I apologize for not checking
Okay.
mine.
Or something.
Really, I get it, it's on there too.
Mine's just
I don't
not
think
set
I've ever
up,
logged
so
into
I
mine.
appreciate Tyler making sure I
As
get
long
it.
as we can have, yeah, just so you know, I hope you guys are getting all your.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm getting it.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, so the 24th.
All right, so Ryan, do we need to have a motion to postpone this?
To continue this item until November 24th at 6 PM.
Okay, I need a motion and a second for that.
I'll make a motion that we postpone the decision on the truth and taxation and the budget until November 24th at 6 P M.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all right, we have a motion and a second, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. Are we down to our favorite time?
We could.
God help us.
I could talk
Board
about
comments, any board comments before we go to adjournment?
I guess I have one for you. Have you got them coming to Hannaford? Have you got any plans to cover?
We don't
this?
yet, but I think I'm going to make an invitation at our next town council meeting to see which like that.
To invite them in December or to invite them in January?
December, because it goes into effect January 1. It'll be
Okay.
too late by the January meeting.
We're just discussing inviting you to the city council meetings.
Oh, okay. For House Bill 48 discussion,
Yes.
or at least CWPP or CWS discussion with maybe the WUI maps.
Yes.
Yes, okay,
Let's do
you
that.
plan on December 9th for Cobble City.
December 9th.
We don't have, wait, do we have another one in
Okay, Wednesday.
November? No, not,
You
no,
guys are on a Monday, right?
we're on a Monday, sorry.
Oh, you're
I'm on the wrong year. Does not help anything. Oh. I just went zooming back. November,
December 8th. The 9th was a Wednesday, wouldn't that be a Tuesday?
December 9th is a
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Okay, so the 8th is the Monday, correct?
Yes.
For
For 2025, yes.
Remind me what Colville is.
my problem is, I don't know if we've got one on the 24th. And that's the same time that we've got the fire board meeting. They've canceled everything, so I don't know what we've got, but we do need to have this.
Do you have one on the 8th? Is that what I'm understanding?
That's what I'm expecting, yes, but we could have one on the 24th too. Should I just shoot for,
Either way, the 24th would be the Monday before Thanksgiving, right?
that's
when
when
we're
we
doing our
already have our
special
other
session.
meeting
Yeah,
on.
sorry.
So let's just
We
put it on
committed to our
the
meeting.
8th.
Yeah.
Let's just put it on the 8th.
We-
Okay,
I'll plan on the 8th, and it's 7 o'clock for Colville, right?
no, 6.
Oh, is it 6?
Yeah.
Hanover 7.
Tuesday, December 2nd, 7 PM.
Wow. Second, that was at 7.
7 PM.
We call this the WUI discussion, right?
I would probably
What do we call it?
House Bill 48 and WUI discussion. It'll
48,
combine
yeah.
all of all.
Okay, because I will send it to the mayor tonight, okay?
Okay, Ryan, are you available on any of those 2 nights? The 8th or the 2nd? If I can bring you with me, I will, to discuss House Bill 48 with their city. Because Hannaford Town will have issues with.
The 8th, I will actually be at the cemetery district's budget hearing. The
Okay, how about the
2nd,
2nd of Hannaford? I'm not as much worried about Colville, to be honest with you.
I think they've done
They got a good job.
Yeah.
we're looking at December 2nd.
If you have an attorney, I'll have an attorney. Is that fair?
That's fair. That's fair. And yes, he will be there.
Yeah, I know.
So this is for December 2nd,
December 2nd, 7 PM.
7 PM. I can make that work.
Thanks.
Yes.
Plan on that.
Okay. And this is at Hannaford Town Hall.
Correct, yes.
And then on the 8th, do it approved. See if anybody in your office can. I think Hannaford.
See your new civic center, by the way?
I've had to come see it.
We have,
And you said these will be at 7 PM?
Hannaford will be
Just
at
work.
7 PM, yes, on the
I
2nd.
bought that from the school district and put a nice room in there. Look in and,
for people to rent and stuff. Really?
yeah, come check it out.
I think I might.
Look in the window.
Okay,
Actually, the new building looks.
so we opened up board discussion. Any others?
I will verbalize, it's a true honor and privilege to be on this board and be surrounded by 8 true heroes.
6.
Well, there are 2 others.
There was-
Oh,
They're-
I saw.
They're on the comfy chairs.
But the point is, the 8 true heroes that are in this job, in this role, we appreciate what you guys are doing. I mean, yeah, we do push back a little bit, but we completely support. But again, especially my role is,
County, I totally get it.
my constituency is, anyway, I've already made those. But again, thank you for what you guys are doing. Without you guys, we wouldn't be sitting where we are. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
And we really haven't pushed back too much, I don't think.
Oh, you
I
did.
think this is just,
It's been a fantastic 4 years.
Yeah.
And if I may, unless anybody else has anything. I want to tell you, Ari, Louise, and I might get a little emotional here. You guys have been, Lou and Dawn, you guys have been pivotal in the last 4 years. And I'm gonna miss you. So I appreciate all your help and everything else. And you really do make a difference. You guys, I know sometimes you feel like you don't have much of a voice between recommending things to the county council, our ultimate decision makers. But you do. And yeah, I just appreciate all the support over the last 4 years. You guys have been incredible. So
you've got
thank
a
you.
mountain to climb and you climbed it,
Well,
so.
you've climbed it with me, so I appreciate it.
Every call I get from a constituent, I'm backing you guys up.
Yep, I appreciate
So they'll be taxes, blah, 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 and I'm like, hey, times are down, response rates are going down.
Yeah.
We're saving lives. These guys are kicking it, and then we'll hear feedback, I know you do about, well, the volunteer, my friend, I'm like, guys, these
No.
are pros now.
Yeah.
This is,
Yep.
we're really proud of
it. I appreciate it.
what the work you guys have done, and we represent it that way. So,
Thank you.
don't, we got your back.
I appreciate it. Can I make one more comment about public stuff? Comments that were made?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Needs to be done.
Yep. No, I don't have a chauffeur.
Okay.
No, I don't have a chauffeur. At times Rouser and I, or Nick at the time, we were carpool together to try and save costs, right?
Thank you.
So if you thought that was a chauffeur, not a chauffeur. Never gonna happen. I won't do that. Yes, the district pays a truck for me because it's in my contract. Obviously, I'm a fire chief. I'm always on call. I've even left my wife. She can vouch for me at the movies because I left to come up to a wildfire. Yes, I still respond to fires and everything else, and each one of these individuals can vouch for me. I am not one of those kind of guys that's not gonna show up if I'm needed. Trying to think of all of them.
There's food.
Oh,
Yeah.
the food. You guys, more than anybody, know how many hours and stress you guys put in as volunteers. If I have to pay a $5 to keep you here for 3 hours, 2 hours, you guys deserve to be fed. Firemen, I don't buy their food. Obviously, we do feed firefighters, state troopers, highway patrolmen on emergencies. Obviously, I'll run to McDonald's really quick. We'll grab something to get them some fire or some food to keep them working. That's called rehab. Everybody in the industry has that. No, and Ari, you can vouch for us here. We are very frugal with our budget.
You are.
We watch things very carefully. We don't just spend frivolously. That's not what we do. Anything else, Don, that I forget? Or anybody else?
No,
here?
thank you for addressing it publicly.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk to any one of those individuals, especially on Colville, whatever the crap that page is that I don't like. I'm saying that publicly. It's garbage. It's
I don't
lies
know
and
what it
half
is.
truths. And I'm just saying it right now.
Yeah, so one of the things was the hidden truck or whatever without the proper signage on it. So
It was never hidden.
That's what we want to make sure the public's aware of.
The truck was never hidden. We had smaller stickers on it. We even upsized those to people who were complaining.
Yeah, we.
Am
we
I going
addressed-
to over sticker a truck? No, because we rotate trucks and we don't want to ruin them. We still have to resell those at the end of their lifespan. We're trying to be frugal again by creating a replacement plan, and Ari was pivotal in that replacement plan. So yes, no, they're not hidden. Nobody's hiding anything. All the trucks are labeled. Anything else?
What happened with Nick's truck? Did it?
I am in Nick's truck. My truck that I was in that had the shell on it turned into a REMS truck. A REMS is It's a modular system for wildland firefighting. So we're gonna up staff, and I'll talk, this is probably for the next board, honestly, it's next year. To up staff wildland REMS team. But that'll pay for itself. We're hoping. So,
Cool.
Good. Good, and that's, it's made public and now it's recorded, so
Thank you.
that's, we needed that.
appreciate it.
Okay, motion to adjourn, I need it.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
You guys are amazing.
That
Thank you.
was a, wow, barn burner tonight.
You know what?
Yeah.